been a little while since I've gone live on YouTube, and I'm excited to be here today with you guys on the topic of check your ego out of the door. Super important, and I'm specifically inspired to speak on this topic because of having anyone listening to this, either live or on replay, being able to continually grow. So if you want to grow continuously, you want to keep seeing better results, and then specifically better results in your business, then check your ego out of the door. And why did I feel inspired to share this is because we've noticed with our company and the huge amount of clients that we have been blessed to serve over the last 8 years, we've really seen a remarkable phenomena, especially for people that are in the six-figure level or seven-figure level and they want to go beyond that, that sometimes once people get results, ego starts tripping in, and maybe not even consciously, but in a way that prevents them from taking the next step. So let me give you an example. Sometimes, whenever someone has done a certain great result or have been in business for some time or have made a huge amount of money or have generated some status because of remarkable work with clients and happy client reviews and all of that sort of stuff, that status can sometimes make people feel like there are certain activities that you don't have to do or shouldn't do because it might go at the expense of that status. Could be one reason. It could also be slightly different, but I want to explore this specific variation of the topic first so that then everybody gets to understand that. But basically, sometimes when people have got that status or they have got that rapport with certain people, it can lead to thinking that, I don't have to partake in some things. But one quote that really has stuck by me, which is a quote by Grant Cardone, or the Cardone team at least, is that if you want to, go to the $10 million level with your company, you can do that by doing $1 million level stuff. And so one of the things that is particularly important, and what I mean by checking out your ego out of the door, is that you always keep an open mind and always move forward and do things, and don't choose not to do things because you think you've grown beyond that level of activity. Now, obviously, there's always an element of choice, and what are the things that you like, or what are the things that maybe appeal more to you. Let's say if we talk about sales, maybe not everybody is as amused by running webinars, or maybe not everybody is as amused by doing calls to connect with your clients, or the other way around. But what I'm trying to get at here is that it is very important that you choose to do things or choose to not do things for the right reasons. And what we've noticed with a lot of people at that very remarkable and powerful growth phase of their business or of their empire is that sometimes, due to the track record that has been gained, it prevents them from really being open to that next level of operating that will get you to the millions if you're going from six figures, or it will get you to the 10 million if you've gone from the seven-figure level. And so just to make sure that everybody understands, I want to mention a very simple example, like having to call people up, right? So there's a lot of the time that we get companies come to us to say, okay, I want to be able to scale my income, or I want to be able to scale my team, or I want to be able to scale a particular funnel to the next level. And ideally, there's a couple of stages in that. So the first stage usually is, and it starts with you always, is that you're the one executing that particular part. For instance, you're going to make some calls, you're going to get some results, and then once you get the procedure and the proof of concept in place, then you can say, okay, how can I then apply the scaling, either by having automation in place, or by hiring a team, or by delegating and outsourcing things in another way, or however, or multiply a particular process and duplicate it within the company. There's so many different ways of how you can reach that next level that just produces more income and more results based on something that works. But you first have to have that concept that obviously works. And so the first thing that is super, super important is that that groundwork gets done. And what I, again, see quite a number of times, like a significant amount of times, is that people then take themselves out of the game because they feel like that level of activity is beneath them or they cannot be done when you're of a certain level or standard. Now, what I've always tried to do in all of my businesses, or me participating as a student of any mentorship program or anything else that I have bought and taken part in, is to come in with an open mind and to really listen to the mentor and execute, do the things. And most of the times with that, I've discovered two things. Either that if I thought that I didn't like it, that maybe I would like it. It's like, oh wow, I'm just so surprised that it actually is something that I enjoy, even though back in the day I would have thought that maybe that's not for me. Or second thing, I have now seen how it works, and because I've now seen how it works, I can so much more easily lead the next generation of team members that would end up doing that particular thing. And what that has allowed me to is to always progress, always grow, always look beyond my own current horizon and then get to a new horizon, which obviously I wasn't able to see, but my mentor or the leaders that I bought from were able to see. And by no means am I claiming to be the best person in the world, far from, but I would like to share this mentality, as it has always allowed me to grow, and I will continue to apply this for all of eternity. Even to the degree that sometimes when I purchase a course or a mentorship from a company that is perhaps less big than our company, I always take part in it as if, with that youthful, as if I'm just a starter, and that youthful enthusiasm, and listen to what my mentor says, execute it all, do the homework, do whatever it is that I can to do to make the most out of the thing that I've just bought. Because I bought it for a reason. I bought it because I wanted to solve a problem. I bought it because I wanted to get ahead. And surely if I buy this from a mentor that is further ahead in that particular part than I am, I should listen. And that is super important. Whereas in the specific example and issue that I'm describing in this very video, sometimes people don't allow themselves to do it. Like, they may enjoy it, or they may learn a thing or two that allows them then to pass it on properly to their team. But what has happened, and this is quite a lot at that level, where you're either 6 figures, 7 figures, or a bit beyond, like multiple 7 figures, but then wanting to go to the 10 million level or even beyond that, is that people think like, well, no, I'm not supposed to do those things, and I want to, let's say, start hiring a team straight away. Which, I'm not saying that that's not possible, but what is important to always know that if you want to expand and scale, that everything flows from the leadership. So if you as a leader are not aware of how certain parts are executed, the amount of time and energy and proper execution that is behind that, is going to be quite a task to be able to guide those that are then also learning that and that are then executing those particular tasks under your leadership. So there's a lot of merit to truly understanding how that works. And one of the things that we pride ourselves in is that that process doesn't have to take long. Just allow yourself to become familiar with how the process is run, ask a lot of questions, do some of the execution, go through the material, get the SOPs in place. SOPs is the procedures basically that someone can easily follow, and then you can pass it on a lot more efficiently than if you were to just completely hold back from it because it's below your standard. I'm not saying that that's exactly the words, but the words that we often hear those individuals speak does indicate that, and that's a very, very important thing to note. And what I certainly love, and I posted a video about that recently of Steve Jobs, where he was indicating that he's met a number of great people in his life, and how those people were always very, very similar in the way how they address anyone in their life, whether this was, the president of a company, or whether this was someone on the streets. Like, they've always addressed those people with the same level of enthusiasm, same level of answering the actual question, and the same level of respect. And that attitude, and that attitude also expressed toward every single, not just person, but every single level of execution, is super, super important. For instance, what I love is, for instance, Grant Cardone. He's like the owner of $1 billion empire. And whenever he's in the office and he notices that something is not clean, he goes ahead and clean it. Or whenever the receptionist is not on the place, he's the one picking up the phone. It's not something that is beneath him. No, he just does it because at the end of the day, we want the organization to run in the most powerful form. And if we are above a certain thing, then how is that actually going to allow for the flow, and the most efficient flow that is, to the end goal? But also, what example are you setting for the team that you are leading? So this topic today is specifically more for people that have got, a track record of results, and you really want to get beyond that. Check your ego out of the door is super, super important. If you want to get ahead, then get ahead. Don't be the one standing in your own way. And one of the things that I have definitely noticed, and again, I'm not pretending to know it all because I'm far from knowing it all. I'll never know it all. And I'm also not the best person in the world, far from. There's so many people much, much, much better. But I do want to share what I've at least seen in my track record of running companies, because it has always allowed me to continually grow. And that's also why I know that we will forever grow, right? So the thing is that even when you decide to say, okay, I'm going to check my ego out of the door, I'm going to keep an open mind, I'm actually going to execute this thing. I am working with this company, I'm working with this mentor, and I just want to listen, because certainly they know something that I don't know, and I'm open to explore and find that out. That when you do that and you do execute it, it actually generates respect, not just from your team, but also, or your future team, but also from people outside. And this is the final message I want to end this off with, is that, like, for instance, we've seen people that wouldn't want to do a certain activity because they thought that if, let's say, they were to pick up the phone, then their audience might think that they're not as advanced as they, thought that they were. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, nothing at all. Like, if you think that when someone picks up the phone they're less successful, then I think there's a lot of sales education to be had, because the biggest closers and the biggest businessmen make sales over the phone, like multi-million-dollar deals. So that's just like a myth that one might have. But what I have experienced from that is, whenever I actually do those things that is important on any level of the company, for instance, picking up the phone, it's actually created a lot more respect from my audience to me about, wow, I didn't expect you to do that. And it's so awesome that you speak to, the different people at the different levels of the, customer journey. And that has been so amazing. It's not like you do it because you want to draw respect, but you also, as a business owner, have to understand why did you go into business? At the end of the day, it's to help people. And in my opinion, there's never any way to degrade yourself by doing something that will ultimately help your customers and will help your team, but actually stepping away from it because of you thinking that it might degrade you, if that makes sense. So it's a loop. Like, you think, oh, if I do that, then I'm not going to be as cool. But actually, by choosing not to do it because you're not as cool, makes you less cool. And if you were to do it, you'll actually see that you're a lot cooler. Cool, obviously, being the word used instead of a respectable person and a person that generates results all across the border. So I hope that was helpful. It's a little bit in depth, I guess, in a way, but I also think that the message is pretty clear. And this doesn't just apply if you're a 6-figure business owner or a 7-figure business owner or whatever type of figure business owner. This applies at every single level of business, even if you're starting up, but it also applies just in general to life. So if this video was useful for you, a little bit of a rant, but an informative rant, I guess, then do let me know what's your biggest aha moment below. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do subscribe. I will be sharing a lot more videos from now on. And if you have a specific topic that you want to hear me talk about, or you have questions about, business-wise or otherwise, then please do let me know. And I look forward to creating those videos for you. So on that note, I'm going to go. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday, I guess. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.